Hello everyone, welcome back to Reddit Real, a channel where we bring out the most horrifying tales from across the internet. Before beginning, subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. I took a job as a night guard at a mysterious cemetery. Now I wish I never did. Part 3. I broke a rule, and with each heartbeat, my fear grew stronger. The clock read 6:33 a.m., and I was trapped in a web of uncertainty. There was no one to turn to, no clear path forward. They say that facing your demons is a brave act, but a lot of times it feels like a foolish one. Still, I couldn't ignore the gnawing feeling that I had to confront this head-on. Back at Necropolis, I parked my car near the gates, my mind racing with thoughts of what might come next. The air was thick with tension as I stepped into the cemetery once more. Perhaps they were already aware of my transgression, and now I had to face the consequences. Or maybe I could somehow bargain for a chance at peace, a twisted negotiation with the forces that held me captive. The familiar surroundings of Necropolis loomed, both ominous and strangely welcoming. Rule number 10 echoed in my mind. If no guard arrives by 8 a.m., you are free to leave, but not before you go into the chapel, where you will find the bald man from earlier. Tell him that your shift is over, but no guard has taken over yet. Once he acknowledges that, you are free to leave until your next shift begins. I had departed the cemetery earlier than scheduled, leaving my post vacant. Could this be my lifeline? A way to connect with the enigmatic bald man? With a mix of hope and trepidation, I entered the chapel. The door was already open, inviting me into its shadowed depths. And there he was, the bald man, a sentinel in this twisted realm. Silently, I approached him, his back turned as if he was waiting for me. The intensity of the moment pushed my heartbeat into my throat. Each step weighted with uncertainty. I was ready for anything, ready to fight or flee if necessary. But then, as if sensing my presence, he rose from his seat, turned to face me, and his inscrutable eyes locked onto mine. A silent command passed between us, and I followed him to the door of the chapel. What choice did I have? I was drawn into his orbit, a player in a game I still didn't fully understand. The tension was palpable as I walked in his wake, the weight of his gaze heavy on my back. There was a shared understanding that words were unnecessary. The bald man's presence spoke volumes. Through the doorway and into the mausoleum we went, our footsteps barely audible against the backdrop of silence. He led me to a specific spot, a wall that held hidden secrets. With a practiced motion, he pressed a stone, revealing a hidden compartment that housed the book. The same book that taught me of the wretched truth behind this place. He took out a pen and began to write. The scratching of the pen on paper seemed to echo throughout the mausoleum, a sound both mundane and otherworldly. The finality of his actions weighed heavily on me, the anticipation nearly unbearable. And then, as the last stroke of the pen met the paper, he handed me the book. What would later become a guide to my uncertain fate, my path illuminated by his cryptic words. I held the book as if it were a lifeline, my fingers trembling against the pages that now held my destiny. The words written there pulled me in, unraveling the mystery that had gripped Necropolis for so long. The bald man's guidance was stark and direct, a beacon in the enveloping darkness. A shiver ran down my spine as I read, realizing that my defiance had shaken the curse's foundations. The Keeper of Souls, a malevolent entity feasting on fear and suffering, was now vulnerable. The bald man's instructions were clear. 3 objects hidden within Necropolis held the key to ending the curse. A ritual, a confrontation with the keeper. It was a daunting task laid out before me, and yet hope glimmered in his written words, a fragile promise that the tormented souls could find their salvation, and I would be set free from this place. The bald man's message warned of the shadows that would conspire against me, and the keeper's determination to thwart my efforts. Trust was a luxury I couldn't afford, and my resolve had to remain unshaken. The key he handed me afterward felt cold in my hand, its weight a reminder of the responsibility I now carried. His final words were etched into my mind, a declaration of my irrevocable connection to the cursed necropolis. The crypt beckoned, its darkness promising both answers and challenges. "Where can I find this crypt?" I asked, determination in my voice. The bald man walked over to the sarcophagus furthest away from the door and opened the lid with ease. To my amazement, there was a ladder leading down, beneath the mausoleum and into the crypt. Eventually, as if sensing my hesitation, the bald man turned away, his figure disappearing into the outside of the mausoleum. I was left standing there, clutching the book and the key, knowing that I was now bound to a destiny that was intertwined with the very fabric of Necropolis. The bald man's writing etched itself into my mind as I stood before the open sarcophagus, its dark depths beckoning me. The weight of the book and the key in my hands felt both comforting and ominous. I knew that there was no turning back now. I had chosen to face the darkness head-on, to challenge the Keeper of Souls and break the curse that had plagued Necropolis for so long. With a determined breath, I took a step forward and descended the ladder into the crypt. After a long descent, I was greeted by a metal door with enchanting carvings carved on it. I used the key to open the gate. Beyond the gate, the air was damp and musty, the walls lined with ancient stone shelves holding ornate coffins. Dim torchlight flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls. The crypt seemed like a place forgotten by time, a hidden sanctuary of secrets and whispers. I followed the path, the sound of my footsteps echoing in the chamber. The crypt was vast, and I could feel the weight of history pressing down on me. The journey was a mix of anticipation and unease, but I knew that each step I took brought me closer to the first of the 3 objects I needed to break the curse. Eventually, I reached the heart of the crypt, a circular chamber with a pedestal at its center. The pedestal held an object that seemed out of place amidst the gloomy surroundings. A polished silver amulet, intricately engraved with symbols and patterns. Its soft glow seemed to ward off the darkness, offering a glimmer of hope. I approached the amulet with cautious reverence, the book's words echoing in my mind. This was the first object I needed. As I picked up the amulet, a surge of energy coursed through me, as if the amulet's power resonated with mine. I felt a connection to something ancient and powerful, a connection that would aid me on my quest to confront the Keeper of Souls. The path ahead was still uncertain, and the challenges that awaited me were undoubtedly formidable, but I had taken the first step, and I held the key to unlocking the curse's grip on Necropolis. As I held the amulet in my hand, a sense of purpose filled my heart. The weeping girl, the tormented souls, this was their chance for salvation, and I was determined to be their beacon of hope. With the amulet in my possession and both the key and the book now at my side, I turned to leave the crypt and ascend the ladder back to the mausoleum above. The journey was far from over, and the Keeper of Souls would not relinquish its hold easily. But I was no longer alone in this battle. I carried the strength of the souls that longed for release, the guidance of the bald man, and the determination to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As I emerged from the crypt, the mausoleum's quiet ambience greeted me once more. The book, the key to the crypt, and the amulet were now my companions, tangible reminders of the path I had chosen. Outside, the sunlight cast long shadows as the world continued its daily rhythm, unaware of the hidden struggles within Necropolis. I knew that the battle against the curse had just begun, and that the shadows would conspire, the Keeper would resist, and danger would lurk around every corner. But I was prepared to face whatever darkness awaited me. The crypt was only the beginning, a symbol of the journey that would lead me deeper into the heart of Necropolis, towards a confrontation that would determine the fate of the trapped souls and my own.